Hello, guys. Been a while since I've done a live, so now I'm starting to experiment with dates, times, places. Actually enrolled in Alison in a social media strategy course as well. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that because I know that I've got learning gaps with social media. Well, I've got learning gaps full stop, um, guys, as well. Obviously, so guys, I'm just going to fix my lighting situation. Um, there we go. Obviously, back from the coast, health update. So, had to have a colonoscopy. Guys, they're not pleasant to have. You've got to drink a lot of prep. You've got to be on a low fiber diet. But I cannot complain. I'm an Australian. We have a socialised healthcare system. So I had to wait about a year. They did find some polyps and some abnormal cells. So I'm going to the GP tomorrow for that as well. Then going to the neurologist Monday. That's a check-in with my tablets, epilepsy, the Chiari, and the neuropathy as well. Wanted to ask my subscribers a question. So my big thing is, if I went to longer form videos and only twice a week, would you still come and follow? They'd be more scripted as well. Or would you want to keep with the talking head style content as well? That's a big one as well. And guys, I'm still trying to figure out. I even asked over on X, formerly Twitter, YouTube, what was going on with the subscribers. They can't figure it out, and because I'm not in the creator program yet, one. But if you're not subscribed, please, that's the best way you can support the channel as well. Also, I stopped doing it because I just got, I don't know what happened, I just got busy. But if I did a weekly or a monthly newsletter, I think I tried going over the Substack, but it's paid. So if I did like a free newsletter for my in real life followers and my subscribers, would you guys do that as well? I know some people email. So this is the email address that if you want to join the email, so if you want to join the email list, it's in the chat, but it's all lowercase annie.nunn123@gmail.com as well. So that's the big one as well. Yeah, I'm looking at a Thursday evening rather than a Thursday night as well. I am losing yet more mobility as well. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to people about is NDIS changes. So I think I'm probably a lone wolf in this, that I am not fearing the changes. Because, well, no, there's one thing I fear, is losing support coordination. Because my support coordinator has actually become a very good friend of mine. But there will be pushback about keeping support coordination. But there's other things that when I saw it on the list, I'm like, hang on a minute, guys. Things like Reiki, crystal therapy, seeing a psychic, getting a tarot card reading done. Fair enough if that's part of a respite or something like that. But I'm like, there's better options that have got scientific evidence. and everyone's getting reassessed. Well, there has to be a line drawn in the sand somewhere, and I think those are the medically complex behaviours of concern, mental illness, definitely need to have their supports kept and not have to go through the trauma of the reassessment process. But for those of us who are higher functioning, have community access, that type of thing, I think what we really need to do is have a bit of gratitude. Have gratitude that we're on the scheme. Have gratitude for getting diagnosed. I know living with a disability is not bloody easy, but having a bit of gratitude that we have access to the program. Having gratitude that we have supports, that we have access to support workers, because I think people have taken advantage of it for far, far too long. So that's a really big one as well. And I think my other message is that, yeah, I am going to try and level up the YouTube, particularly the YouTube, the blog, and the podcast. So I'll be doing a content calendar. So if there's any international days that I should be focusing on, I know where I live, which is Toowoomba. We've got Carnival Flowers coming up as well. I know I promised you guys, but I'm delaying a organisation with a disability and like my routine, but I don't want to dox myself, so I've got to work on what I share and what I don't as well. Now, my housemate that you could hear in the last live, guys, those of you who wrote to my housing agency, thank you so much. We've been able to get her therapeutically trained support workers, and I don't even know why she was in the house, and this is something that I'm documenting. Now, that's the next thing I wanted to talk about, documenting with a disability. That's a huge one. Basically, if you're a support worker, support coordinator, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. It could be as simple as a medication misadventure. It could be someone refusing to take their tablets, someone having a go at someone else, someone seeming a bit sad, someone isolating, someone watching TV. I'm tired. But it could be someone acting out. And acting out is a video I want to do with Deb or Mortar podcast, that sometimes difficult and challenging behaviours come from a place of trauma, come from not having enough positive attention. So people will act out and get in trouble because they're getting attention. Sometimes people lying. It was a protection mechanism as a child. They were the glass child. So now they've hit adulthood. They're figuring out what is right and wrong. And sometimes people haven't been taught the difference between that little white lie of, does my bum look big in this? Oh, well, maybe that outfit's not appropriate for what we're doing. How about you try this? Little white lie. Versus, did you eat all the cake? When they've got chocolate covered all over their mouth. No. Well, they might need to know to put that on the shopping list. Was it their cake to eat? Are they now bouncing off the walls from the sugar and the chocolate? And the other thing is dressing appropriately. I know some organisations have got uniforms. I'm very much for uniforms. I can understand the case both for and against as well. So the for being accreditation, brand recognition, and ethics. The against, does that client want to be known that that's a support worker? Does that make the person feel odd because they're with a support worker as well? But I think it does promote professionalism and alters the behaviour in public because they're reflecting that brand or that organisation as well. One thing I heard that really made me think was that some of the church-based agencies, because they've got a body behind them and ethics, are sometimes the best in the business. But my community access team, I won't name them here, I've got to get their consent to name them, is one of the best in Toowoomba because they are backed by a Pentecostal Christian church. This church is known for its charity work in the community, support of Red Frogs chaplaincy group as well. Guys, also understanding myself and my needs is going to be a big learning journey as well. Yeah, that was my big one. Also, no, the reassessments. Well, guys, every time I've gone for a plan review or a reassessment, I've ended up with more funding, not less. And yes, it does need to go back to a deficit-based models because we need to get back to reasonable and necessary. Is it reasonable for the person to have it? Is it necessary for the person as a disability-related support? So the whole point is you level up is the NDIS is bridging that gap between the wider community. Okay, you can't use public transport, so we'll fund a support worker to take you to and from work, uni, study, day centre bus. Okay, you have trouble cooking, we'll pay for a meal delivery service. It was never supposed to be about grandiose holidays. Big screen TVs, if you have vision impairment, blind, I can totally get behind that. Laptops, computers, if you're studying, your income, communication, can totally understand that. But the actual internet connection, should be an everyday living expense. Groceries were something that I saw that were paid for. I'm like, what the? I can understand if it's PEG feeding, if it's nutritional support, if it's adult formula like sausage and Ensure, they're an added expense. Or GI tubes or thickener for swallowing issues or adjusted cutlery. I can totally understand those, but some of the others I'm like, really? So that's a big one at the moment as well. Podcasts, we've got Hitchhiker's Guide to Support Work went live Tuesday as well. Also, if you're interested, I do have a Patreon. Search me up on Patreon as Andrea Nunn. I've just put a new blog post up. So I do blog posts, outtakes, hoping to do members-only live streams because the big goal for the end of the year is to get to 500 subscribers. Before I went away, I was at 109. When I came back, I was at 95. No one's unsubscribed. YouTube can't explain to me what's happened. I don't understand what's happened either. So that's the biggest way you can support the channel is by subscribing, because I know 80% of my viewers are unsubscribed. I don't know how to get you guys to subscribe. I'm going to have to grovel and beg and grovel for you to subscribe or provide better quality content as well. Guides, I have permission to share the organisation that I volunteer with on a Tuesday night. So this is actually my local Guides Queensland group. I've been an adult volunteer for 5 years, going on 6 to this year. So for those who don't know what Guides is, it is parallel to Scouting, but we are the girls only version as well. So we are all about fun, friendship and adventure, and empowering women and young girls for the next generation of leaders as well. The leadership skills, the management skills, the research skills, the diplomacy skills that I have learnt through Guides has been amazing. I was a youth member, so I was a brownie and a guide. And I'm still, some of my lifelong friends are guides. My leader for the age group I work with, which is juniors, we met through Guides as well. Just like the travel opportunities to the world centres, a lot of the leadership qualifications are amazing in real life. If you're going for a job and have hobbies and interests, like as a first job out of high school, out of uni, hobbies and interests, Guides Queensland, and you list your Peak Achievement Awards. I wouldn't list every merit badge, but your Peak Achievement Awards look really good on a resume, because you can time manage, you can talk to people, you can lead a group as well. So that's a huge one as well. Also, in Toowoomba, as I said earlier, we're coming up to Carnival of Flowers. It goes for a whole month now, not just the 2 weeks as well. So that's huge as well. Guys, I've got my headphones on. I hope you can hear me as well. So guys, I'll give it till 4:30 as well. So what's coming up on the podcast? Hoping to reorganise a time with the community pharmacist to record. He was unwell. You can't help. And I've reached out to Secret Scholar Society. I'll reach out to him again. I've got to remember, no, it's a perfectly reasonable answer, but collaboration is a way to build the brand. I'm also going to reach out to Paul Wallace for the media channel. Completely forgot about the media channel until YouTube sent me a notification that I've got a new subscriber. So it's going to kind of be my backup channel as well, because this channel started as a media review channel, but didn't really take off. When I started talking about NDIS, really started to take off. So guys, NDIS changes. Look, the only thing that's certain is death and taxes. We've got to take it with what comes, but whinging online is not going to do anything. So talk to your local member of parliament, email them, write to them, organise a meeting. Queenslanders with a Disability Network have got an activism team that they can link you up with. Australian Disability Network can link you up with that. There's some amazing advocates and educators on LinkedIn. Carly Finlay, I know, has stepped back due to her cancer journey, but there is some amazing ones over on LinkedIn as well. Also, there's some providers who are really promoting their disability educators and advocates. For personal reason, I don't like the word activists, because the mental image for me is not great, where an educator is someone who is willing to work and change minds. You get much more done through education than you do with hardcore activism. Even the Wilderness Society knows that about education and collaboration as well. So that's a really, really big one to do as well. Guides, community access. Wilderness Society is quite open to having members with a disability join their chapters. So you just have to talk to the state president about what accommodations you'd need. There's a lot of social media education they're doing at the moment as well. So that's a way you could get involved, guiding, scouting, as well as your traditional day and community centres as well. But that's my thought on the NDIS, is that people shouldn't expect the entitlement that's crept in, that the NDIS is going to pay for my gym fees, they're going to pay for my membership to this and that and everything else. Fair enough, if that's your community access, full disclosure, they do pay my guides insurance, but we have to have a limit. Our tax is not Albert cut and come again, so we need to be very aware of that as well. Oh, I'm tired, guys. I did not sleep last night. It's got very warm in Toowoomba, but I think that's false hope spring. Because I know around Carnival it gets very cold in the evenings again. Guys, I think this would be the last chance to book your Airbnbs, your stays. I think the hotels book out from year to year as well. But if you're Brisbane, Goldie, generally 2-hour drive. The Floral Parade is absolutely amazing. Even our local shopping centre gets on board with colouring in, flower crowns. They sponsor a local float as well. So that's a big one, guys, as well. Also, someone asked me in an email, so I want to address it here. How do I stand on support worker registration? I can't understand why there wasn't a registration organisation, or they weren't put under APRA, the Australian Health Practitioners Agency, from the beginning, from when it changed from block funding under state control, state regulation, to now, about the qualifications and stuff like that. Particularly over on TikTok, I see a lot of unethical behaviour from some support workers, where they're filming clients. Clients clearly don't want to be filmed. I've heard some inappropriate comments out of support workers who are trying to start drama with hate comments, hate watching, particularly on TikTok. So that's where I'm very much for having a registration body, because if it's mandatory that you join that, they're going to have a code of ethics. And that code of ethics is going to include social media as well. And people are like, oh, but there goes my income. Well, if you want to do social media, look at people who have completely different jobs to what they do on social media. Jordan the Stallion, Fast Food Secrets Club, the paint mixing guy, the bakers. So it doesn't have to be about get ready with me to spend a day with my clients. If they're high functioning, go for it. But the disability market, even though I'm finding this on TikTok, YouTube, Blogger, so oversaturated. There's so many voices. You don't know who's got the qualifications, who's got what. So I would say, especially in the NDIS challenges, listen to your providers, listen to your lived experiences. If it's listen to your advocacy groups, but do your homework. How long have they worked for the agency? How long have they been on YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, podcasting? How much research do they do? So one interesting thing I'm going to do afterwards is Google myself on Trustpilot as well. that's another place where you can check out the big YouTubers to see if they are trustworthy, if they do the live streams, if they do the merch giveaways as well. So guys, going to leave it there. If you're watching this after I've streamed, please, best thing you can do at the moment to support the channel is to subscribe. So guys, I will see you next time.